Hi YouTube friends, this is Pappocetus. I'm coming at you with something that is very interesting, very unique, not just to me but to the scientific community. Unfortunately, it's going to be a short video because the knowledge on it is just, and not just my lack of knowledge, but the lack of knowledge in general. It's not something that is very super well known. I mean, it's not that there haven't been parts of it found and that it hasn't been described and so on, but comparatively, among whale evolution, this is something that there has been the lower end. Depending on people you talk to, like fossil hunters and stuff, or fossil collectors, they've probably heard the name more because things are labeled correctly or incorrectly as Pappocetus. I believe quite often when they shouldn't be. Not that it's a wastebasket taxon, but almost like it is a fossil hobbyist collector wastebasket taxon, but not a scientific one. Like anything that resembles this kind of thing just kind of gets tossed into Pappocetus. Now, very similar in a lot of ways, most ways, many ways, to Basilosaurus teeth. Some Basilosaurus individuals even have, and it might have to do something with the size of the individual or so on, may have one or two teeth that is very smooth overall, but it will still have some like two or three like things like this on either side, even if they're small. Now this single bump, I mean, it's definitely there, and the second one, it's just low down, seems to be something that is used possibly when assigning a fossil. When I say assigning, I mean by collectors and hobbyists assigning something to Pappocetus. And oop, there's a third tooth I forgot all about right there. So I don't know if that, a lot of this is up for question because I'm having a hard time differentiating knowledge that would be based from the scientific origin and the fossil collecting hobby origin, which is not necessarily different. There's definitely a level in the hobbyist collection area that mixes and is the scientific origin, but you don't know. I mean, unless you're dealing with those people specifically, you just don't know for a fact which you're getting. So you always have to take some information with a grain of salt, unless you know that you're getting it from somebody who knows, or that you have somebody who knows who took a look at it and at least gave you a cursory, like from pictures or something. People generally don't send their fossils back and forth like to have people look at them firsthand, but in pictures a lot of times people can decide things and be able to tell certain things. Unfortunately with this, there wasn't a super specific origin. It was Africa, which holds Africa and Pakistan and things like that. That holds the majority of the Georgiacetus, Georgiacetide, which is all the archaic whales. That's where the lineage of whales started. So they're all going to be down there. So, and so many of them look very familiar. So many of them had teeth that looked exactly like this. Most of them, though, didn't have this little notch on the side, though, which is maybe a tell pointing to either Pappocetus or to something in particular. But having just completely triangular teeth like that, that is an unbelievably common thing, that most of them, even to the point where they were still walking on land like wolves, they even had teeth like this at that point. Not all of them, and not in their entire mouth, but I mean, right down to like Basilosaurus may have been, or the Basilosaurus line and family may have been the end, like the transition from these guys turning them into the super monstrous versions with the extra serrations on either side that look just ruthless. That might have been the end of these triangular ones, because these definitely don't exist in any type of modern whale history. Right about it, the Basilosaurus extinction is the end of that general look. So unfortunately I can't really, I'm just going to talk about this as if it's likely a Pappocetus. It is in the I want to say Pappocetus, Protoceti group. Again, the group, family, all that stuff, I'm not great with it, but I believe it was the Protoceti group, and then the Georgiacetus, or Georgiacetus family, maybe, and then it was Pappocetus, and I think there was only one species, Lungardi. So this is a arguably, some might say, uninteresting, you don't know anything about it, it's like blah 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 blah, and that's true, I really don't, and that does suck when you don't know much about something, but there are certain things that you just can't know as much about, or the people, you won't be able to find out without the correct information from the correct people, which is very difficult. I mean, if I wanted to send this, like literally, but like physically send this to a museum, I might be able to get like a response from somebody within a number of years, because they have real work to do, and scientists have the most amazing fossils that can be science changing, sitting there for 5 years just because they're so busy doing stuff before that they haven't gotten to it yet. So the amount of time it could take them to just get to some hobbyist's thing to take a look at and be like, oh yeah, that's blah 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 blah, like, that's pointless. I mean, it's a quick look. It's much easier than a lot of the other stuff they're dealing with, so they might very generously do that quickly. But my point is that things like this, your ability to find out definitive answers on it are pretty slim and pretty unlikely, and you're just going to have to do your best with your own research, and then talk to the people that you can find, like on forums and stuff. That's a good place to find people who are experts, maybe not museum experts, maybe, I mean, a lot of people can be to that level. You might have a hard time getting in touch with them or getting their interest, but there's plenty of people who you can talk to, even if they're not experts. If you talk to a dozen non-experts and every one of them says the same thing, then you can at least start with the general idea that that's the case, and continue trying to get in touch with an expert. But it'll give you an idea or point you in the right direction. So you can definitely get some help, even if it's not the help that you want or the amount of help that you want. But I thought I would show this. That's why I was talking about it. It's potentially very cool. I mean, I think it is very cool, but it's potentially important. It potentially could be from a very unknown or little known species. For all we know, this could be a completely unknown animal, and that's the thing. Like, unless a scientist in a museum gets to something and decides that it looks different enough that it's a yada yada yada, nobody's going to know. And I don't know any percentage. I was going to say, well, like half bones are in people's collections as opposed to scientific study. But however many are, I promise you, I mean, it's not even like a guess. It's a fact that so many new species and species with new sizes and locations and stuff like that, things that would change everything about a specimen or new specimen altogether, like I said, are in people's collections, and that there's just no way for science to get to them, which is very, very frustrating. But it's just the kind of thing you just have to understand that and begrudgingly accept it. I mean, it really sucks, but there's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta, And even if you sent things in, which some people do, even if it's something that a scientist said, oh, that looks awesome, please send it to me, and I'll study it, and you do, it still, like, even though they begged for you to do it, it still might take them 5-10 years to get to it because they have other things. So it's a rough, tough situation. Not the way people would like things to be run, but people do the best they can, and you got to give them credit for what they're doing. I find this a very cool piece. I love the whale evolution. It's not like one of my real fortes, but I do find it very interesting and very cool, how these little whales and foxes turned into these monsters, Basilosaurus and stuff, and then just turned into these blue whales and so on. It's just really interesting. So, if you aren't familiar with whale evolution at all, just take a quick look and see what I mean. Like, in such a short period of time, too. It happens so geologically quickly. It's really amazing. So take a look, see what I mean. I hope you at least found this fossil somewhat interesting. I think it's kind of cool. I like having at least one kind with the triangular teeth. It leaves it so open to exactly what it is, but I just know that I still have part of that branch or that family or that area. So probably Pappocetus, that's what I'm going to go with, because that is what the majority is pointing to at the moment. So Pappocetus with a grain of salt. Thank you for watching. Leave me likes, please subscribe, and I will see you next time, I hope.